My next guest struggled with heroin addiction in his 20s, but went on to become a nationally recognized teacher of mindfulness meditation. George Mumford has worked with prison inmates and NBA luminaries like Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal. He outlines his approach in The Mindful Athlete, Secrets to Pure Performance, which drops references to Greek mythology, Carlos Castaneda, and the classic TV series Kung Fu.
How can you see what you're shooting at in the dark?
Watch my eyes.
How'd you do that?
I do not do it. It is not done.
What do you mean it's not done?
It is only experienced. It happens.
And George Mumford joins me now. George, thanks for being here. Some people will know the answer to this question, but other people will not. What does it mean to be mindful?
What it means to be mindful is to be here now experiencing what is happening in this moment. So it really means not thinking about what happened before or what might happen, or actually thinking about, if I'm listening to you, thinking about what I'm going to say rather than just listening to you, and then after listening to you being able to respond to it. So it's about creating space, enough space so that you can really just be here now, but let whatever the event is, to allow it to speak to you rather than to input or to interpret what it means, rather than just experiencing it right now as it is.
I have to move on to my next question, even though my impulse is to wrestle with what you just said for about a half an hour. You grew up in a low-income family in Dorchester.
Right, that's correct.
In your 20s, you grappled with heroin addiction.
That's correct.
And you have gone on to become this national, perhaps international teacher of mindfulness who's worked with some of the big names that we talked about earlier. Also Kobe Bryant, soccer player Clint Dempsey, a whole roster of names I can't even mention here.
Right.
How did you end up following this particular path in your life?
Yes, well, in 1984, when I got so clean and sober, I had a lot of chronic pain. And so the HMO that I was involved in, which was Harvard Vanguard Medical Associates, they had a program that was experimental called stress management. And a woman by the name of Joan Borisenko was teaching us how to use the mind-body connection, how to use meditation, mind-body modalities such as yoga and Tai Chi, and also to read about, and educate ourselves about the mind-body process, how the mind works, psychology, how the body works, and also how to be in relationship with others. So it was really more about what is this mind-body process, and how can we use it to deal with life in a more full and wholesome way.
So from there, if I understand correctly, you ended up learning these techniques, exploring them, and then at a certain point teaching prison inmates, right?
Yes, this is correct.
And then you were cited for the work that you were doing in absentia at an event where, remind me, who was the woman connected with the Chicago Bulls who happened to be in attendance?
It was June Jackson, Phil's wife at the time.
Okay.
And it was a place called Omega Institute, which is in Rhinebeck, New York. And so Phil was looking for someone to help the team deal with the stress of success, because they had just won 3 NBA championships in a row. And so he wanted somebody to come in to teach the guys how to deal with that stress. And in the meantime, Michael Jordan's father got murdered and he retired.
Right.
So it was a full-blown crisis when I went there in October 1993.
So you were involved with the team when he came back, when he ended his foray into baseball.
That's correct. 18 months later, he came back. And then he had a little bit of a hiccup in 95, but 96, 97, 98, we won 3 consecutive NBA championships. And in 96, we had the 72-10 record, which still is the best record for the regular season.
Because I'm an NBA fan, my impulse is to try to extract details about Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. My understanding, though, is that you tend to keep details of your interactions with individuals relatively private. So I want to ask you a broader question.
Right.
You've worked with professional athletes.
Right.
You have worked with prison inmates, and I believe you've worked with a number of other people as well. I'm wondering if there is a certain group of people or a certain type of person who tends to be most receptive to what you have to teach.
Yes, I would say people who are curious, or people who are committed to excellence, or people in a lot of pain. Like myself, I fit in that realm of, I didn't come to this because I was intellectually stimulated or thought it was a good idea. I came to this because I was in a lot of pain. And then there's others that are seeking wisdom and seeking excellence. And so they understand that they need an edge. And so there's an openness, there's a curiosity, there's a pursuit of excellence that makes it easier for them to say, okay, I can see how this is helpful and I want to do that. But people who are just, in neither pain or seeking excellence, they're probably not so interested in it because the status quo is fine.
My last question for you, and we only have about a minute and a half left,
Okay.
but let's say that someone is watching at home and is interested in what you're talking about, but hasn't yet gone out and bought a book, yours or anyone else's, hasn't gone to a retreat. Is there a quick way that someone can begin exploring mindfulness? Is there an exercise that someone could do this evening after they turn off the show?
Yes. It's just like say you and I, just being aware that we're sitting and breathing, and just being in the body, feeling the body, and breathing in, breathing out, and just feeling the sensation of breathing in, breathing out, or whatever we're doing. Just do that, and do it in a way where you're not thinking about what you're doing, but as Kane said in the little clip, just experience what you're doing, or experiencing being.
Don't reflect, just experience.
Don't reflect it, just experience it, feel it. It's like, for instance, just letting your body talk to you, letting it speak for itself. Don't interpret it, just feel it, and you'll be able to feel, sensations, and sometimes it might be, some of us might have cramps, or might be tightness, and others it may be nothing. It just doesn't feel any way in particular, but you're sitting. You can feel that you're sitting because your body's making contact with the chair, and whether your hands are on the table or whatever, you can feel that. So if I say, think about your right palm, where does your mind go? To the right palm.
Right.
Think your left palm. Where does it go? So you go to the left palm, what's there? What can you feel? What can you experience? That's it.
All right. George Mumford, thank you. Pleasure talking
You're
to you.
welcome.